E.N.D here. After the full release of Taros Beyond That, the next set that is going to be released for Magic the Gathering is IKORIA Lair of Behemoths. This is a very interesting and curious set. We have already a little bit of hints that it will have a crazy mechanic. Now it's time to do some predictions. Let's begin our predictions for IKORIA Lair of Behemoths. My first prediction is that this set will be a standalone set, and there will be no continuation from the previous sets. Similar to Taros Beyond That and Throne of Eldraine, where these two particular sets had a story on its own, and there was no continuation from War of the Spark, IKORIA will have a story on its own, and there will be no continuation from Taros Beyond That, and there will be no continuation in the next two sets, that is Core Set 2021 and Zendikar Rising. My second prediction is that this set will be a tribal set, that is the return of tribals. Very similar to Onslaught and Lorwyn, these two particular sets are famous to be tribal sets, that is, they have cards that will benefit certain creature types. IKORIA Lair of Behemoths will be also a tribal set. Also, I'm predicting that this particular set will have the return, or is ideal to have the return of the tribal card type. I know that Mark Rosewater and even Wizard of the Coast, they are not keen to have this particular card type reprinted again, but I'm predicting that IKORIA Lair of Behemoths will see the return of the card type tribal. My third prediction is that this set will be an only creature set, or there will be very few sorceries or instants. In the history of Magic the Gathering, there's only one set that has only creatures. That is Legions. Legions is the second set in the Onslaught block. This particular set has only creatures and does not have any sorceries, any instants, any enchantments, any artifacts, any planeswalkers. It has only creatures. Therefore, I'm predicting that IKORIA Lair of Behemoths will only have creatures, that is creature cards, or very few sorceries and instants. My fourth prediction is that in this set, creatures will get big, extremely big. The biggest creature ever printed by Wizard of the Coast for Magic the Gathering is Emrakul the Aeon Torrents. It's a 15/15 power and toughness Eldrazi creature for a 15-drop, and this is the biggest creature that you can cast. There is another creature bigger than Emrakul, but from an Anand set, that is the BFM, the Big Fairy Monster. This particular creature can be casted only if you have the two sides of the card, the left and right hand side of the card, and when you cast it, it is a 99/99 power and toughness creature. Obviously, this creature is not legal in any format because it is from an An set. My prediction is that IKORIA Lair of Behemoths will have creatures bigger than Emrakul the Aeon Torrents. If it's not bigger, will be very similar in power and toughness as much as Emrakul. My fifth prediction is that this set will not have a collector booster box, or this will be the last set that collector booster boxes will be issued with. We have seen that this particular product, the collector booster boxes, they were extremely successful in Throne of Eldraine. In my opinion, they were less successful in Taros Beyond That. Therefore, I'm predicting that IKORIA Lair of Behemoths will not have a collector booster box, or will be the last set where a collector booster box will be featured in. But don't get desperate, because I'm sure in the future collector booster boxes will be again printed with another standard set. My sixth prediction is related to the planeswalkers that will feature in this set. I'm predicting that there will be 3 planeswalkers. Obviously, the 36 planeswalkers in War of the Spark, it's a one-off thing that happened only in that set. And lately, both Throne of Eldraine and Taros Beyond That had 3 planeswalkers. Therefore, I'm predicting that this set will also have 3 planeswalkers. But who these 3 planeswalkers will be? At first, I was thinking that someone from the original Gatewatch will feature on IKORIA, but I think these will be reserved for Zendikar Rising. And also, I think there are a couple of hints that is helping us to identify who these 3 Planeswalkers will be. The first hint is found on the teaser card that you can find in your Teros booster packs with your tokens. On this particular card, on the left-hand side, you can see a very familiar character. She's Vivian Reed. Therefore, I'm predicting that Vivian Reed will be one of the Planeswalkers in IKORIA. The second hint that we have is related to the name IKORIA. IKORIA sounds like Kyoria, and therefore the second Planeswalker in this set will be Kyoria. Also, we have another hint related to Kyoria, that is the Planeswalker card in War of the Spark, that is IKORIA Behemoth Beckoner, IKORIA Behemoth, IKORIA Lair of Behemoths. I think that's a very, very nice hint. The third Planeswalker, I think the third Planeswalker will be a totally new character, a question mark, someone that never featured in any Magic the Gathering set or history. The seventh and last prediction is related to the new crazy mechanic. The new crazy mechanic that will let you create your own creatures. These are all the possibilities I'm predicting for this mechanic. In the history of Magic the Gathering, there are 2 mechanics that let you create your own creatures. One of them featured in the Unstable set, that is Augment. Augment was a mechanic that you can have a creature and join it with another creature card. In our case, we have here Half Kitten, and I'm going to augment this creature with another creature called Eager Beaver. I'm going to take the Half Kitten and put it on Eager Beaver, and I will combine them together and create my Half Kitten, Half Beaver. This is a very interesting mechanic from an E.N.D set, the Unstable set, and this is not the first time that Wizards of the Coast used some variation of a mechanic that has featured in an E.N.D set. The second mechanic that let you create creatures and have already featured in another Magic the Gathering set is Meld. Meld was a mechanic that featured in Eldritch Moon, where you had creatures like Gisela the Broken Blade, and you can meld this card with Bruna the Fading Light. Once you meld the 2 cards, that is Gisela and Bruna, you will create a much bigger creature called Brisella, Voice of Nightmare. In my opinion, I think this was a very successful mechanic. I really liked these meld cards, where you have 2 faces of the card. One of them was the creature card, and the other face was one part of the creature card. Very, very interesting, very difficult to cast, I must admit it, but it was a very interesting and curious mechanic. And why not, in IKORIA, we will have a small variation of the meld mechanic. Now, the next 2 possibilities are related to 2 different TCG games. One of them is the fusion that features in Yu-Gi-Oh!, where you can fuse 2 creatures and create a much bigger creature, and the other one is taken from the Pokemon game. In Pokemon, you have evolution, where you have a small creature which evolves into a second big creature, which eventually will evolve into a third bigger creature. So these are the 4 possibilities I'm predicting for this new crazy mechanic. These are all my predictions for IKORIA Lair of Behemoths. Let's see if I can guess some of these predictions when the set will be fully spoiled. In the meantime, follow the arrow, click the subscribe button, subscribe for my channel for more and more videos about IKORIA, Magic the Gathering, and the collectible world.